Ahoy! New World dropped an unexpected patch today, and this is one you want to pay attention to when it comes to making gold, spending gold, earning gold, because this has an economic impact. They're definitely still in the middle of sorting out their communication channels because the forum is shut down now, so they posted this on Twitter and linked to Twitter from Discord. Bit weird, we'll see how that changes in the long term. But either way, that's why this is just a Twitter screenshot. And the first part of the patch is the fix to leaderboards, which would constantly pop up and were bugged anyways, so that part is solved. What is more important for us though is the seasonal event change. They are massively buffing the amount of rewards that you're getting across the board. I guess not enough people were playing the event enough and they want to encourage people to do it more. I think that the event is very repetitive and that's probably why people dropped it, but I didn't think that the rewards themselves were too low. But now we are getting a whole lot more. So Wispy Blooms now drop 14 Wispy Bloom petals up from 7, but that means if you're using a Springtide wafer, they actually drop 28 petals now. Additionally, Springtide tokens now requires 3 Wispy Bloom petals, down from 5. So to do some quick math here, previously we would have gotten 2 Springtide tokens and almost a third per flower, whereas now we are getting 9 Springtide tokens per flower, so more than triple the amount. But not only that, Wispy Wasps now also have a 75 chance to drop Wasp Goo, up from 10% chance. As there are 3 Wispy Wasps per flower, you have a very good chance to get at least 2 Goo per flower as well on top of that. 1 Goo is worth 1 premium token, which is 25 of the small tokens, so you get an additional 50 tokens roughly per flower, plus a 9 from the flower itself. In other words, if you do 10 minutes of flower farm, you should be drowning in tokens. On top of that, the Delightful Gift Sack, which is the one that you get from the 4 event locations themselves, if you pick up the area in the middle there, drops 10 Springtide tokens instead of 1 as well, but that's honestly not even much compared to the rest that we're getting here now. But the Joyous Gift Piles that are in every town also drop 10 Springtide tokens, so they just completely ramped up the amount of rewards. On top of that, Wispy Spritz and Springtide tokens both no longer have weight. That's a nice convenience bonus as well if you're farming this stuff. Honestly, these numbers seem a little bit overtuned to me, so I wouldn't be entirely surprised if they dial that back down a little bit later. So if you want to farm this stuff, you might want to get in on this soon, so you get it at this very high rate. Likewise, if you have any buy orders for the patterns on the market, consider if you want to adjust your price down a little bit, because there's a good chance that at least the more in-demand patterns will drop a little bit. And then I have a tip that I was planning to put on my Patreon where I put early trading tips. Future early trading tips will be on my Patreon again, so feel free to support me there if you're interested in that. But the reason I'm telling you now is because I'm talking about the Springtide event anyways. I would recommend stockpiling a reasonable amount or high amount of the green patterns. If you go about this by buying them or now just easily farming them yourself is up to you. So the reason why you want to do this is because these patterns have very limited resource requirements. They don't need any perk craft mods for attributes, so you only choose 1 craft mod and then you choose the attribute that you want and then you use some tier 5 resources. This is good because it makes crafting these patterns very cheap. Obviously there's a lot of RNG involved though compared to say a golden scarab. But the reason why I think it's interesting to keep those is that unlike the 600 gear score patterns, these aren't locked in gear score. And we have an expansion that is coming up on the horizon at least, coming in 4-ish months soon I guess, and that will come with a gear score increase. Since there is a gear score increase, I suspect that there will be a new tier of resources along with that that allows you to craft on that level of gear score eventually. You'll probably need some new crafting gear, new trophy mats, whatever, that's all on the horizon still, but you get the general idea here. These green patterns have no indication that 600 is their maximum and have no other things that could tie them to that gear score other than the cooldown mats that you're using. So it's very possible that after the gear score increase, these patterns could possibly be used to craft new gear with the attribute of your choosing and at a higher gear score than we currently have. We don't know how far the gear score will be increased, and it is possible that it's purely done through umbels again, but I think that's unlikely. I would imagine that at least the floor will be raised. So say for example the new gear score cap could be 650, then maybe you can craft at 625 and upgrade from there. And I think these patterns could come in very, very handy unless they put some restriction on them in hindsight. Since they are so easy to get, I would say it's worth at least getting a few of them. If you want to know how to farm the Springtide event more efficiently, I will link a video that I already made about that right here, you can check that out. And later today I will show you some cool things about my current loadout for Forge. If you're interested in that, consider subscribing and clicking the bell. In the next days, we'll also dive deeper into elemental aversion versus shirking fortification again, and we'll have the expedition guide. Huge thanks to my patrons for supporting this video, and thank you for watching. Duke Sloth, out.